All right. Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to another exciting daily vlog. This is Daily Vlog 2026, number 238. And today, for your viewing pleasure, I shall give my view on the viewpocalypse that is view happening, view now, involving views. For anyone that is unaware, YouTube has decided to change what the word view means. It's actually happening. So, if you are unaware, and this is something that generally only like content creators really care about, because if all you do is watch YouTube videos and you've never had to look at your own view count and stuff like that, you probably have no idea what a view counts as. The old way, which I believe is still current, I don't actually know when this new view count thing goes into effect, but the old way of counting views is you couldn't just like accidentally click on a video, watch like a second and a half of it, and oop, you've got another view. Nope. You actually had to watch for a significant amount of time. I can't remember the exact numbers. At one point, I thought it required like 30 seconds, but it might be as little as like 8 to 10 seconds. I'm not 100% certain. If somebody knows the actual numbers, not just guessing or anything, feel free to put it in the comments down below. The reason behind that is the number of views that you have on a particular video is actually a very effective marketing tool. Specifically, when you are attempting to get ads placed on this is something, and so in the marketing world, we call it impressions. And this is a real thing that has existed for a very, very long time. Impressions are effectively how many times somebody sees the ad that you created, whether that is a billboard, whether that is a TV spot, radio ad, whatever it is, the number of impressions is roughly how many people have physically seen that. And from a marketing perspective, that's a very, very important number, because if you know how many people have seen your ads and you're able to show how much more business you've gotten in the markets that you put those as ads in, you can start to get an idea of what your return on those as ads are. You get an idea of how effective they are. Without the views, you can still somewhat figure out a little bit of how effective the marketing campaign is. If you're getting more money and you're making more money than it costs to make the marketing campaign, then it was a successful campaign. However, by knowing basically kind of the return rate of how many people view your content versus how many people actually act on it, that is very, very useful in being able to tailor your content. It could be if you have a very low kind of action percentage, where like, let's say 1,000 people watch a video of yours where the entire point of the video was to get them to click on a link. Okay. And 10 people out of those 1,000 people actually clicked on the link. Well, then you have about a 1%. I can't think of the word now. A 1% success rate. Let's just call it that. There's a different word we use in marketing, and I can't remember it right now. But so that's not great. It means 99% of the people are not clicking on it. But there's a number of different reasons why they might not be clicking on it. It could be that 99% of the people that it's getting put in front of just have no use for the product. It's like trying to sell snow shovels in Phoenix. No one's going to buy them. And so the few people that did buy them, maybe they have a vacation property in Flagstaff. For anyone who doesn't know, Phoenix, capital of Arizona, And it's very hot there. They don't get snow, or when they do, it lasts for minutes. Flagstaff, however, is way up in the mountains. They get snow every winter. So that could be it. It could be that the ad itself is very is very kind of obtuse, and people don't understand. Oh, I'm supposed to click the link. It could be it's just a bad ad campaign. There's a lot of different things, but by having that number of views, you have another piece of the puzzle that you're able to do it. However, that number needs to be accurate. If a view counts as just it randomly popping up on the screen, well, there's a very good chance that people didn't actually see that ad, so you can't really measure its effectiveness when the person didn't actually see it. Quite a while ago, and I'm going to see if I can actually look this up. Facebook ad lawsuit. So yeah, I believe it was DZ Reserve versus Facebook. I'm gonna see what the result was at, because I believe Facebook lost this. Plaintiffs' allegations, class of stakes. Oh, so it hasn't even actually gone to trial. Yeah. It was filed in 2018, and the most recent movement on it was in late 2025, and this is according to the AI overview from Google. So it might be wrong, but as far as I can tell. The most recent movement on it was in late 2025, where Meta is trying to enforce an arbitration clause. They're basically trying to prevent it from going to trial and just force it to go to arbitration, which, if you're not familiar with that, arbitration is where you have a third party who's supposed to be impartial. They generally aren't, but that's another thing. A third party hears the claims from both sides and then just makes a judgment, and you have to live by that judgment. Arbitration tends to favor whoever has more money in general, because for the most part, that's the person that's actually paying for the arbitration. And so the arbiter is generally going to be nicer to the people that are either paying them directly or are just getting them more business. If they're not actually being paid by that, they're being paid by a third party or something. The fact that this company is using arbitration, if it goes in their way, they're going to use that arbitration again, which makes them more money. So as much as it'd be nice to have impartial arbitration, it generally doesn't exist. The big benefit of arbitration is, again, instead of taking, again, this lawsuit was filed in 2018, so it's nearly a decade that this lawsuit's been going through. Arbitration is generally done very, very quickly. You don't have, weeks upon weeks of witnesses and all that stuff. Generally, arbitration is done in a meeting or two, and it has much different requirements and rules and things like that than a trial does. So that's what's happening there. So what this whole lawsuit is about is Facebook years ago used to claim that if you put ads on Facebook as opposed to putting on Google or Twitter or wherever else you're putting your ad, you were going to see significantly higher numbers of engagement. And you were just like your ads, because so many more people use Facebook and all this stuff, and they just would say, yeah, you would get double to quintuple the number of impressions as anybody else. And so I knew a lot of people, or not a lot of people, but I knew of a lot of companies that went to Facebook instead of Google. And they were doing things like using Facebook Live and putting their videos on Facebook and stuff like that instead of putting it on YouTube, because they're like, well, the return is so much better over here. So many people more see it. What Facebook failed to tell anyone is, for Facebook, a view was if the video started playing. And the way that Facebook is set up by default is any video that shows up on your timeline automatically plays. So if you're just scrolling through your timeline, you are probably giving dozens, if not hundreds of views to things that you never saw. Like, the sound doesn't even have to be on. And a lot of times by default it isn't, specifically so that people aren't like closing out or blocking those things. They just scroll past them. And so Facebook was effectively artificially, and there's no other way to use Facebook, unlike Google, where, you know, your home page isn't auto playing every single video on your home page. Facebook, every single video that went in front of you was auto playing. And so Facebook was artificially, the claim is, allegedly, legalese, that Facebook was artificially inflating their view counts in order to charge a premium for the ad space. Because a lot of times when you're buying ads on these platforms, you're paying for the views, and you're paying by the views. They go, well, we will give you, 100,000 impressions for this amount of money, or 500,000 impressions for this amount of money. Well, when the vast majority of those impressions aren't real, where people are just scrolling past and they didn't see any of it, that doesn't help. And a lot of companies were seeing this really, really bad return on investment on Facebook ads. They would be getting these massive amounts of impressions and very, very little follow through. And they couldn't figure out what was going wrong, because they're like, well, we're getting the impressions, but people aren't acting on them. Maybe we need to change this. Maybe we need to change this. And what eventually came out, because Facebook hadn't told anyone, well, this is how we count views. They assumed that the kind of standard view count was they have to watch it for a set amount of time in order to ensure that they're actually seeing something. You don't have to watch the whole thing. They do have to watch it long enough that you can confirm that they actually saw what was on the screen. And so, yeah, right now there's this big class action lawsuit going against them that Meta is doing absolutely everything that they can to not allow it to go to trial. Because if they lose, again, this is according to the AI summary. I normally don't use AI for anything. However, it's the first thing that pops up, and I really don't care that much to confirm this. Because none of this stuff really matters until it actually goes to trial. And once it goes to trial, I'll have actual court documents I can look at. But according to this AI summary, plaintiffs claim damages could exceed $7 billion, which for Facebook, it's not a small amount of money, but currently, their stock, or their market capitalization, is basically cost of their stock times how many stock options are out there, is $1.47 trillion. So $7 billion is you're looking at like maybe 5%, something like that. If I do actual math, if I go 1.47, no, let's go 0.07 divided by 1.47. That should be the right ratio, I think. So yeah, right around 5%. Wow, my brain did math. That's impressive. So it's about 5% of their current stock worth. That is not the entirety of their worth. That's just their stock. So if they lose $7 billion on this, it won't bankrupt their company. But Facebook ain't been doing well for a little while now, or Meta hasn't been doing super well for a little while. Less and less people are using Facebook for anything. Instagram is doing relatively well, and Threads is effectively dead in the water. So yeah, 7 billion would not be a nice thing for them. So going back to YouTube and this new view thing, the reason why it was the thing that it was before was simply because that's kind of the industry standard, and the number that Facebook was using was next to useless. And that's the real reason why views are tracked. It's so that Facebook or Google or Twitter or TikTok or whatever it is can sell advertisements and have a number that they can attach to it. That's why these companies are valuable. Like Google doesn't make its money from, like YouTube doesn't make its money from YouTubers doing stuff. They make their money by selling ads. And it's not even on YouTube that they make the most money. Like the vast majority of the internet, if you see ads on a website, that was sold through Google's AdSense. That's where Alphabet, the parent company of Google, and YouTube and everything, that's where they make all their money, is selling ads. And it's not even close. Like YouTube Red, pennies in the bucket. Any money they make off of like subscriptions or whatever they're called when you like join the channel, pennies, literally fractions of pennies in a bucket. The real money they make is ads. And like I said, the reason they're able to make that money is they are able to make that view number mean something to advertisers. This is why Facebook is getting sued, and it's why nobody uses Facebook anymore for ads, other than either people that don't understand how ads work, or people that are buying very, very low-cost ads because they're just not worth the money on Facebook. So it's the reason why you're not seeing like Target or like Walmart or anything advertised on Facebook, but you will see ads for those on YouTube because the number of views on YouTube actually means something. So why is Google changing this? Well, they're not changing it entirely. When you are partnered, you do get paid for views that watch ads. So if people are using ad blockers, those views don't count. And technically, people that use YouTube Red, like me, our views don't count towards that number. There's a separate number that they check of YouTube Red ads that still makes the creator money. Technically, I think it makes them more money than just sitting and watching every single ad on there, which the vast majority of people don't do. But it's the way that I support the creators that I like, because I hate ads. But I still want YouTube creators to be able to make money off of my views, and so I use YouTube Red as a way to do that. This is not me advertising YouTube or anything like that. I get no cut off of this. This is just how my logic process works. It's my payment so that the people that I support on YouTube get paid. So anyway, now that views are being changed, there's a very good chance that a lot of channels are going to see significantly higher view counts. Does that mean that they're going to get paid for those new views? No. See, the number required for your CPM, your cost per, can't remember what M stands for, but basically that's how much you get paid for your views through ads. That isn't changing. So you're going to have two separate numbers now. You're going to have your public views. At least this is my understanding. You're going to have your public views, and then you're going to have your ad views. And the ad views are going to be the same views that we're seeing right now, probably with a little bit of change as they change the algorithm a little bit. But that's not going to change. But your public views, there's a very, very good chance that they're going to get significantly larger because someone accidentally clicks on your video, they see it. If one of your videos is embedded in a website to autoplay, you get that view even if they immediately stop the video or they immediately scroll past it. It still counts as a view. So, what does that mean for creators? To be honest, it actually hurts creators and it helps YouTube. The reason being, if a creator is negotiating with a company for like a sponsorship deal, one of the things that's going to come up in that conversation is how many subscribers do you have, how many viewers, how many views do you get every month, every week, whatever. Now that creators are going to have this new number that is the thing that shows up publicly, companies are going to be less willing to work directly with creators because the creators, not only can the creators kind of lie about their numbers because they can make them seem significantly larger than they actually are, but the companies can no longer check that. Like if I went to Darrington Press, let's say, I call up Darrington Press and go, hey, I'm a super awesome TTRPG YouTuber that has 1 million subs and gets 15 million views a month on my videos. We should definitely do a collaboration. It is as simple as looking up my channel and going, oh, by 1 million, do you mean 1,000? And by 15 million views, do you mean less than 100? And then they can realize, oh, well, we don't need to deal with that person. It wouldn't be a valid use of anything for us. Okay, cool. Now, however, YouTubers won't be able to inflate their subscriber numbers because that number is not changing, but they will be able to claim that they're getting significantly more views than they actually are, and advertisers will have no idea how useful those views are. For someone like me who doesn't like post their videos everywhere, it probably won't be too difficult to figure out what my real views are. If you just look at my subscriber count, you look at what I was getting before the change, you look at what I was getting after the change, you can probably come up with a pretty simple solution as to, okay, is this the channel actually growing, or is this just the new calculations? But for YouTubers that, advertise their videos or get them, posted on Reddit or websites or other things like that where they're embedded, and can autoplay and the things like that, or posting links to Facebook and getting them to autoplay there. Again, that used to not really do much. But now it's technically, could be, theoretically, legalese, could be a very effective way to artificially boost your view counts. But what it's not going to do is it's not going to change how Google sells the ads. Because, again, Google has both numbers, and they're going to use the quality numbers because those are more valuable to advertisers. So this particular change is going to make it harder for individual creators to be able to negotiate for sponsorship deals and things like that, because the numbers aren't going to be as accurate anymore. But it's going to incentivize people to go through larger companies and other things like that, whether you have like a management company, whether you're going through Google, whatever. Someone that is significantly larger and has an incentive to not change the numbers or anything like that. So yeah, overall, I think this is going to be a net negative for small creators in general, and is going to be a net positive for really large channels, and especially Google itself, because Google's going to have the real numbers. And I have no idea if creators are going to have access to the real numbers in a very easy to find place, or if they're going to have to figure out, okay, well, if this is what my CCP is and this is how much I'm, or CCP. Let's try this again. this is what my CPM is, and this is how much money I'm getting off of this many views. Well, that doesn't make sense, and I'll have to do some reverse math to be able to figure out how it works. I don't know. I haven't looked into it that much. But it's going to be exceptionally difficult for companies to be able to verify anything. Which, again, there are ways to inflate your numbers nowadays. But most of them were specifically against terms of service. And they were things that you could kind of see. Another thing that this changes, if you make a video, and one of the things you can do is you can upload a video and then make that an ad. And so if people click on a video and your ad runs for a couple seconds and then they immediately skip it, or the ad blocker doesn't quite catch it until it's played like a second, that could be a way to artificially inflate your numbers, which wouldn't be outside the terms of service. So, yeah, like I said, this is all my opinion. None of this is like, I'm not talking with sponsors right now and hearing them tell me, oh, we're not going to work with small creators anymore. Nope, not a thing. This is just me analyzing a situation from a purely kind of marketing business standpoint. And this is kind of what I see. I know a lot of people going, why are they doing this? This sounds stupid. Like, Facebook tried to do that and they're getting sued over it. Well, again, the reason Facebook's getting sued over it is they lied. It's not that they're not getting sued because they were counting the views wrong. They're getting sued because they didn't tell anyone that they were counting it in a way that no one else in the market was doing. And that can be considered for fraud. If you are kind of going against best practices in the industry, but you're not telling anyone that, there is kind of an assumption of good faith, effectively, in commerce and stuff like that. And so if you don't tell somebody that, oh yeah, we have a completely different way that we calculate these numbers that's not used by anyone else in the business, and it makes our numbers significantly higher through no effort other than we count them differently, that can be considered fraudulent, because they assume that you're counting it like literally everybody else in the world, and yet you're using a different equation that is intended to make your numbers look bigger. The key points of fraud, a lot of people don't realize this. The key points in fraud is it has to be intentional. You can't accidentally defraud someone. So it has to be intentional. And you have to be able to prove that at the time that the transaction or whatever it was happened, the person knew what they were telling you or what they were selling you was not what you thought you were getting. They knew that and they did it anyways. That is a requirement to prove fraud. If they were selling something and they didn't realize that it wasn't what you thought that it was, they can't be charged with fraud. There are other crimes that they can be charged with. Doing a lack of due diligence, or I can't remember what the actual legal term is, but it's basically, just like not checking into things because, it's possible that it might not be the thing. That's still illegal. Just because, well, I never looked at the label on the bottle. Like, I just assumed the big box had the things in it. Well, that's kind of your job. If you're going to sell something, you can't just get a random box, claim that there's something in there, and not check it. Like, you have to do that. That's part of your responsibility as the person selling the product. So anyway, like I said, as soon as I heard this, I went, well, something weird is going on. And the more that I thought about it, and in the process of actually recording this video, it finally just clicked. Oh, this is going to be a way to make it less profitable to work with individual creators and more profitable to go through YouTube itself, to put your ads on and things like that. It might even be a response to, there's currently a lawsuit that I'm relatively certain is going to fail, but it's been, it's been brought up anyways. Effectively, I can't remember which country it is. I think it's in the UK, but it might not be. There's a lawsuit that's claiming that YouTube Red or YouTube Premium, it's been called a couple different things, has committed fraud because, well, yes, YouTube Red prevents you from seeing like mid-roll and pre-roll ads. It doesn't stop creators from doing ad reads. So, you know, when the creator's like, yeah, and there's all these things. And you know what else is a thing? Today's sponsor, Thinginabox. If you've always wanted a thing, but you were really frustrated that it didn't come in a box, you should try out Thinginabox at the link in the description down below. Just FYI, Thinginabox doesn't exist. This isn't a real sponsorship. No one is paying me anything. And the only link in the description down below is the one that lets you subscribe to this channel for free. So yeah, like this lawsuit is entirely based around the idea that YouTubers are doing ad reads and they paid for no ads and that's an ad. And so you lied and you have to pay me. There are many places in YouTube Red where it defines that this is only for ads that YouTube places. YouTube can't stop YouTubers from doing pre-rolls or doing ad reads and stuff like that, or sponsorship content. Like they can't do that. They don't have any way to stop YouTubers from doing that. So that's in there, but they're trying to argue that because when you hit the buy button, the subscribe button, it says ad free, and there's still ads because I define ad as anything that makes money, and I don't like that. So this may be a response to that lawsuit to make it, again, more difficult to do ad reads and stuff like that, because companies are going to be less willing to work with individual creators because they won't be able to confirm that the numbers are real until after the ad campaign is over, and then they get to see how much money they made off of the ad and realize, ooh, that person massively inflated their numbers. It also doesn't affect your ability to get partner status. Views only count on shorts, and shorts are already measure views as the second the short starts playing, that counts as a view, because shorts are so short that if they required you to watch, you know, let's say 30 seconds, there's some shorts that are less than 30 seconds, and so those shorts would never count as a view. So shorts have always been counted that way. Now every video is being counted the same way that shorts do. So shorts already counts number of views, but again, right now, in order to be able to apply for partner status, you need 10 million shorts views in, I can't remember if it was 30 days or 90 days or 60 days. It's a short amount of time. So you have to have a view go viral in order to get into the partner program. The other significantly more effective and easier way to do it is you have a number of subscribers, which isn't changing, still 1,000. And then right now you need 4,000 combined watch hours on your content in a 1-year period. And starting next February, it's going to go up to 8,000. So this view count thing isn't going to make it any easier to become a partner or anything like that. The only thing it does is it makes your view count go up, which doesn't matter to YouTube because they know the real number of views. And so it won't matter that it looks like you have significantly more views to YouTube. And all it's going to do is make it harder for you to sell your channel to sponsors and things like that, because they'll be like, okay, so how many of these people are people that are just, you know, scrolling through a wiki that happen to have your video embedded on it and auto playing? Like, why do we want to work with you when we can't tell how many people are actually going to see this video for real? So yeah, like I said, interested to hear from you guys. Do you kind of agree with me that this is an attempt for YouTube to make their ad buying or their ad selling services significantly more lucrative? Or do you have another theory as to why they're doing this? Let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, again, that is all for me today. I will see you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye.